20,000 shells each day. Countless territory liberations. 1,000 destroyed tanks. This is the deadliest U.S. weapon Russia is afraid of. This is the HIMARS. Ukraine would likely have lost the war against Russia months ago. Russia had a major advantage in artillery, firing up to 20,000 shells into Ukraine each day. The soldiers lacked armored vehicles, ammunition, and the heavy artillery needed to fight back. Without intervention, the Ukrainian military was well on its way to a heavy defeat. Intervention did come in the form of supplies from multiple countries, Western and Eastern alike. Included in these supplies was the HIMARS, which has proven invaluable in every major Ukrainian victory since the start of the invasion. The cities of Izium, Kupiansk, Lyman, and Kherson have all been liberated from the control of Russian forces, as the Ukrainian military takes back territory faster than the Russians captured them. Volodymyr Zelensky, president of Ukraine, attributed much of these successes to the HIMARS, and understandably so. As of today, the Russian forces continue to suffer heavy losses at the hands of the HIMARS, including over 1,000 Russian tanks that now line the streets of Ukraine, destroyed. With no definitive response to the weapon, the Russians consider the HIMARS the most powerful weapon available to the Ukrainian forces. What makes the HIMARS so powerful? It's time to find out. HIMARS. The M142 High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, or HIMARS for short, is an American light multiple rocket launcher developed in the late 1990s to attack, neutralize, suppress, and destroy targets. It is operated by a crew of 3 and is split into 2 main parts. The first is the Army's new highly mobile and rugged family of medium tactical vehicles. Powered by 290 horsepower Caterpillar 3115 Attack 6.6-liter diesel engines, these vehicles have an operational range of 300 miles and a top speed of 53 miles per hour. Thanks to these vehicles, the HIMARS is able to quickly move to a new location after firing. This makes it difficult for the opposition to know where the fire is coming from and, therefore, unable to counterattack. The second main part of the HIMARS is the launcher mounted on the vehicle. The launcher holds, aims, and fires the missiles that wreak havoc on targets. Designed to be highly precise, the HIMARS has GPS network-enabled systems. This network capability has attracted hacking attempts from Russia, which we'll get into in a few minutes. The purpose of these GPS network-enabled systems is to guide missiles fired by the HIMARS launchers straight to their targets. These missiles could be either of 3 types: the GMLRS, the ATACMS, and the yet-to-be-deployed PRISM. GMLRS. The GMLRS missiles are currently up there as the poster child for American persistent, responsive, all-weather, rapidly deployable, long-range, surface-to-surface, precision strike capability. These missiles are so accurate that they've earned a reliability rating exceeding 98%. Nicknamed the 70-kilometer sniper rifle, the GMLRS owes its precision to GPS-aided guidance, added to an inertial navigation system which combines to guide the GMLRS on its path to its target to deliver a 200-pound high-explosive warhead. The warhead contains an additional 51 pounds of PBX-109 high-explosive in a steel ballast fragmentation case to spit 182,000 pre-formed tungsten fragments, resulting in increased lethality against personnel and light armored vehicles. The $160,000 GMLRS continues to be upgraded to be more lethal and have a farther range. These upgrades have resulted in the development of 3 different variants of the missile: the GMLRS Unitary, GMLRS Alternative Warhead, and the latest, Extended Range GMLRS. The GMLRS Unitary and GMLRS Alternative Warhead are similar in almost every way. But while the GMLRS Unitary integrates a 200-pound unitary warhead, The GMLRS alternative warhead wields a 200-pound class fragmentation warhead. The third variant, the Extended Range GMLRS, is a new, developmental variant that offers an extended range of up to 93 miles in all weather conditions. It also incorporates a larger motor and has enhanced maneuverability due to tail-driven control. All three GMLRS variants maintain a significant level of commonality and can all be deployed by the HIMARS. The HIMARS can load up to 6 GMLRS rockets at a time. This HIMARS GMLRS loadout is the dominant configuration in Ukraine. ATACMS. The ATACMS is a heavy, nuclear-capable surface-to-surface missile that could dictate the tone of the war. Its lethality could enable Ukraine to attack deep into Russia. However, as that could escalate the war, the U.S. has been reluctant to share them with Ukraine. This reluctance, however, dwindled on October 10 when Russia shot a barrage of missiles into civilian areas in Ukraine. Should the U.S. go ahead and ship ATACMS missiles into Ukraine on account of these attacks, it would be something for Russia to make a roundtable for. The ATACMS is a 13-foot long, 24-inch wide, 3,690-pound heavy missile with a maximum firing range of 190 miles. It wields a 500-pound WDU-18B penetrating high-explosive blast fragmentation warhead. Once fired, the missiles can fly as high as 160,000 feet at a top speed in excess of Mach 3. It is guided by a GPS-aided inertial navigation guidance system that ensures the missile strikes its target spot on, or at least within 30 feet of it. The HIMARS can load a maximum of 1 ATACMS at a time, as opposed to 6 of the GMLRS. The lids for both types of missiles are similar patterned with 6 circles, though. This identical pattern makes it more challenging for enemy intelligence to single out and attack the HIMARS trucks that hold the more lethal, more decisive, higher-value $1 million ATACMS rockets. New PrSM. The PrSM, full name, Precision Strike Missile, is the U.S.'s response to an ever-evolving battlefield. Lethal as the ATACMS is, it's been over 30 years since it was introduced into service. In that period, Russia introduced the Iskander, a missile with 26% better precision, 160% greater range, and 196% higher top speed than the ATACMS. Once introduced, the PrSM is expected to turn the tide back in the direction of the U.S. Flying faster and farther than anything before it, the PrSM is designed to be the most advanced rocket artillery out of American borders. It would retire the ATACMS and remain launchable by the HIMARS, a particularly interesting upgrade for the HIMARS in Ukraine. HIMARS in Ukraine. According to Michael Kaufman, an expert on Russia at Arlington, no military is properly prepared to deal with the deep strike and precision fire that the HIMARS provides. Proof of this isn't difficult to see. By the second batch of HIMARS delivered to the Ukrainian military, the 8 HIMARS were largely responsible for destroying 30 Russian command stations and ammunition storage facilities, dramatically decreasing the intensity of Russian shelling and slowing their advance in eastern Ukraine. Recognizing the lethality of the HIMARS, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu ordered his forces to prioritize destroying them, an attempt that proved futile. Today, there are 20 HIMARS units in Ukraine. The 5th batch came one day after Russia's seemingly terrorist attacks on October 10th. It was a busy Monday morning in Ukraine that saw Russia unleash a lethal barrage of missiles against civilian targets, including schools and a children's playground. This was Russia's most widespread strike against Ukraine in months, and it would result in extensive power outages for hundreds of thousands of people, water shortages, loss of life, and injuries. According to Andriy Yermak, a senior advisor to President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine, the strikes had no practical military sense. Russia simply bombarded Ukraine with 84 cruise missiles and 24 drones to cause a humanitarian catastrophe in the country. With 20 HIMARS in Ukraine, Russia could be taking a different approach to countering the heavy artillery weapon. Hacking the HIMARS. Unable to stop the weapon decisively, it would appear that Russia has now resorted to attempting to hack into the HIMARS. According to Russian military expert Alexei Leonov, the Russians have succeeded in hacking the HIMARS. Leonov says Russia can now pinpoint the launch site of a HIMARS early enough to take it out. However, Alexei Leonov is a known Russian propagandist, and surely enough, there's been no proof to back up his HIMARS hack claims. Such claims are only proof of some level of desperation brewing in the Russian camp as more and more HIMARS continue to be shipped into Ukraine. The HIMARS simply can't be ignored, yet nothing can be done to counter it. To make the HIMARS even more lethal, subscribe to this channel now. Thanks for watching. Now, see this.